Welcome to my channel Young and the Restless Official, where you can get news about. For more information, kindly subscribe and follow, and I am your buddy. Now let's get started. Young and the Restless, YNR, spoilers suggest that both Kyle Abbott, Michael Mealer, and Jack Abbott, Peter Bergman, are very appreciative that Daniel Romalotti, Michael Graziadei, came forward and told them his mother was alive. After all, the entire thing set a domino effect in motion that eventually saw Diane Jenkins, Susan Walters, cleared of all charges. Kyle recently relayed how thankful he was for what Daniel did and implied that the Abbotts are indebted to him. Could Mr. Romalotti decide to call in a favor once Phyllis Summers, Michelle Stafford, returns to town? The Young and the Restless spoilers, Daniel Romalotti made things right for Diane Jenkins, it's his mom's turn next. YNR spoilers hint that Daniel likely feels a bit guilty about throwing his mom under the bus. Still, his conscience was nagging at him, and he knew he had to do the right thing. Despite Ms. Jenkins's sordid past, no one should go to prison for a crime they did not commit. However, the end result was, he jeopardized his mom's freedom, all in the name of being honest, something his sister Summer Newman Abbott, Allison Lanier, could not bring herself to do. Will Daniel go out of his way to make things right for Red? YNR spoilers, Daniel Romalotti tries to reason with Jack, Diane, and Kyle. If it wasn't for Daniel, Diane wouldn't be a free woman right now. There's a chance that Phyllis may have been found out at some point, but how long would it have taken if the truth didn't come out when Romalotti spilled the beans? He went well out of his way to help Diane, so could he call in a favor and ask Jack, Jenkins, and Kyle? Would he ask them to refrain from pressing charges against Phyllis? Perhaps he'll request that they give her a chance at a clean slate, much like Jenkins was given an opportunity last year when she returned to Genoa City after doing the same thing. Daniel essentially saved Diane, so could he ask Abbotts to show him the same grace and save his mom from jail time? Join the discussion below. Tune into the CBS Soap Daily to see what happens next and visit this site for the latest Young and the Restless news, updates, and spoilers. Young and the Restless spoilers, Phyllis walks after Daniel cashes in favor with the Abbotts. It's a quiet evening at the Abbott mansion when Daniel Romalotti finds himself standing on the doorstep, his heart pounding in his chest. He knew this was a gamble, but he had no choice. His mother, Phyllis Summers, had been through enough after her latest ordeal, and Daniel was determined to do whatever it took to secure her freedom. It was a long shot, but in Genoa City, long shots often paid off. As the door swings open, Daniel is met by Jack Abbott, whose stern expression quickly softens upon seeing the young man standing there. Jack has always had a soft spot for Phyllis, despite everything that's happened between them over the years. "Daniel, come in," Jack says, stepping aside. "What brings you here?" Daniel steps into the grand foyer, feeling the weight of the moment pressing down on him. He needs to ask a favor, a big one. And he knows it won't be easy. "I'm here to talk about my mom," Daniel says after a beat, his voice steady but tinged with urgency. Jack's eyebrows raise slightly. He's aware of Phyllis's legal troubles, how she had been on the run and the consequences she faced for her actions. There's a part of Jack that still cares deeply for her, but he also knows how complicated and dangerous her situation is. "You know I care about Phyllis, Daniel," Jack says carefully. "But she's made some choices." "What exactly are you asking me to do, Daniel?" Jack asks, folding his arms across his chest. Daniel takes a deep breath. "I'm asking you to use your influence to help her. I know the Abbotts have power in this town. If you can pull some strings, get the charges reduced, or even dropped, Phyllis can walk free." Jack's eyes narrow as he considers the request. He knows that involving himself in Phyllis's legal troubles would mean getting Diane involved as well. The two women have been at odds for as long as he can remember, and Jack had worked hard to rebuild his relationship with Diane. But there's also a part of him that remembers the connection he once had with Phyllis. Before Jack can respond, Ashley Abbott enters the room, her eyes narrowing at the sight of Daniel. She's always been protective of her family, and any mention of Phyllis tends to raise her defenses. "What's going on here?" Ashley asks, glancing between Jack and Daniel. "Daniel's asking for our help," Jack explains, keeping his voice neutral. "He wants us to use our influence to help Phyllis avoid prison." Ashley's expression hardens. "Phyllis has caused enough damage, Jack. She's manipulated, lied, and schemed her way through every relationship she's ever had. I don't think we should get involved in this." Daniel steps forward, his eyes pleading. "Please, Ashley. I know my mom's made mistakes, but she doesn't deserve to go to prison for what happened. She was trying to protect herself from Jeremy Stark. You know how dangerous he was." Ashley's gaze softens slightly at the mention of Stark, but she remains cautious. "Phyllis isn't innocent, Daniel. She made her choices." "I'm not saying she's innocent," Daniel counters. "But she's been punished enough. If she goes to prison, it'll destroy her. I'm asking for a favor, one that I know the Abbotts can deliver." There's a long silence as Jack and Ashley exchange glances. Finally, Jack speaks, his voice measured. "I'll talk to Michael Baldwin. If there's a way to get the charges reduced, I'll see what can be done." Daniel's relief is palpable, but before he can thank Jack, Ashley interjects. "But this can't be about us cleaning up her mess again, Jack. If Phyllis walks, she needs to change. No more lies, no more games." "I understand," Daniel says quickly. "And I'll make sure she knows that. Thank you, both of you." As Daniel leaves the Abbott mansion, a heavy weight lifts from his shoulders. He knows this is just the first step, but it's a crucial one. He's done what he can to help his mother, now it's up to Jack and Michael to work their magic. Later that evening, Phyllis paces nervously in her hotel room. She's been hiding from the law, but her son's determination to clear her name has kept her hopeful. When there's a knock on the door, she practically jumps out of her skin. She opens it to find Daniel standing there, a look of cautious optimism on his face. "What happened?" Phyllis asks, her voice barely a whisper. "I talked to Jack," Daniel says, stepping inside. "He's going to see what he can do. There's a chance, Mom. You might be able to walk free." Phyllis's heart swells with gratitude, but there's also fear in her eyes. "And Diane? She'll never let this happen without a fight." "I don't know," Daniel admits. "But Jack is on our side. If anyone can make this happen, it's him." Phyllis pulls her son into a tight embrace, tears welling in her eyes. For the first time in a long time, she feels a glimmer of hope. The next few days are tense as Jack and Michael work behind the scenes, negotiating with the DA and using every connection they have.